All right, we're going to call the meeting to order. Before I go into my normal spiel, we do have a couple, 2 or 3 things we need to take care of. First, I want to introduce the board to Shauna Morris. She will be our legal advisor tonight. Microphone, got it, microphone. Secondly, Ernie, if you wouldn't mind kind of explaining the novelty of one of our cases.
Yes. Good evening, Board. You'll see in the notices of violation that you have, that you'll see one with the address and stuff blocked out. That is because under Chapter 119, certain people in certain professions are their addresses and certain other information are are not of public knowledge. They are to be, so that's why that has been redacted. Just so.
The last thing I want to do before we get into it is remind everybody that our proceedings tonight, they're not conversations. They're not normal conversations. So it's not good enough to just raise your hand. Wait till you're recognized so that we can keep the record straight. And then once you're recognized, say what you have to say. Let's not talk over each other. Let's one at a time. And that way we keep the record straight. And again, you'll hear it again, but if you're going to be asking questions, make sure those questions are relevant to the case at hand. Okay? Thank you. Okay, the March 8th meeting of the Municipal Code Enforcement is now called to order. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is charged with conducting hearings to determine whether an alleged violation of the city code has occurred. Decisions made by this quasi-judicial board will be based on the evidence and facts presented this evening. Our meetings are conducted in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, and each case will begin with the city presenting its evidence of the alleged violation. The respondent will then present his or her case. Both parties will have an opportunity to cross-examine all witnesses. The board members may question any witness. Comments by both parties must be relevant to the case. Persons wishing to speak will be given an opportunity to do so by the chair and must address the board from the podium after giving their name and address. Upon request, copies of materials submitted by staff are available for review. Board members are reminded to obtain permission to speak from the chair, and questions of the city should be directed to the attorney for the city. Tonight, that would be Shauna. At this time, I'll ask all persons who expect to give testimony this evening to please stand and be sworn in by the city clerk.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony or evidence you're about to give or present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Very good. Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask if any board members have had any ex parte communications regarding any matters coming before the Code Enforcement Board this evening. If you've had verbal communications, please disclose the sum and substance of the communications, when and where the communications occurred, and with whom it occurred. If you've received any written communications, please disclose the nature of the communications and provide the city clerk a copy to be filed in the record. Starting with you, Dina.
I have not.
I have none.
I've had none.
None.
None?
I've had none.
I've had none.
Very good. Approval of the minutes. Minutes of the regular meeting held on February 8, 2023. Have all board members received copies of those minutes?
Yes.
Does anybody have any changes, additions, or corrections? If not, I'll accept a motion to accept the minutes.
Move to approve.
We have a motion and second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries. Okay, so as per usual, we will be taking cases out of order. Our first case will be case number 22-5661. Next one? Okay. So we'll move on to case number 22-5967, which is the case right after 661. So you can have a seat. I'll call you up when it's time. Thank you. Yeah, you're up.
Case number 22-5967, City versus Vicent Grybauskas Sr. and Vicent Grybauskas Jr. for the property located at 7609 Leon Avenue. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 8-102-13B, exterior walls maintained in good repair, and Section 8-102-14A, Fences maintained in good repair. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Jose Silva. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board Member Jose Silva, Co-Compliance Officer. This case originated November 1st, 2022, from an email that I received from Director Baroni. My inspection at the time noted the exterior walls of the residence to be stained and faded, rear yard fence in disrepair, and yard accumulations. This time I left door hanger with a compliance date of November 11, 2022. My reinspection on December 1st, 2022 noted no change, so I completed notice of violation with a compliance date of January 13th, 2023. Posted notice at the home as well as City Hall. Also mailed copies, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the registered owner. My inspection on January 31st, 2023 noted the fence to still be in disrepair and the exterior walls of the residence still stained. This time I'd like to submit 6 photographs, notice posted at the door, 2 to 5 exterior wall staining, and number 6 is the side yard fence in disrepair.
We'll accept those. Thank you.
The issue, I did speak with the father, the senior. The issue was waiting for the HOA to approve the color to paint the residence. Respondent is here tonight.
Thank you. Any questions for the code officer? Go ahead.
You said that there were originally 3 violations.
There was 3 violations. The accumulation came in compliance, got cleared, so we have the fence and the staining.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir. You said the respondent is here? Did you want to say something? State your name and address for the record first.
My name is,
Hang on a second. You were sworn in, correct?
yes,
Okay. Proceed.
my name is Vicent Grybauskas. I live at 7609 Leon Avenue, Temple Terrace, Florida, 33637. And I have spoken to the HOA Vanguard, and they should accept my colors hopefully on the 21st of this month at their next meeting. And hopefully by then, I'm getting people in order to replace some of the wood that needs to be repaired on the side of the house. And then after the color is accepted, hopefully within a month, I'll have it painted. So that's the goal.
Any questions for the respondent? Go ahead, Bill.
It looked like there was some staining on the walls. Is there anything you could do prior to, have you already tried to clean it as far as pressure washing so far?
I've been cited multiple times over the past few years for the staining, and I do take care of that usually pretty quickly, just with like bleach and water. I put in a spray bottle and spray it. Before I paint it, I will have the whole property pressure washed, so that way the wood is in good condition and no algae can grow through the paint and whatnot.
I was more asking about if there's something you could do prior to painting it, because the painting may take a while. If you could do something prior to that, that would bring you into compliance.
It needs to be painted.
To change the color, yeah, it needs to be, the color, yeah, they want it painted. Some of the paint is faded, so it almost looks like there isn't paint there on the second story of the house.
So that's part of the violation?
Yes, it needs to be,
Yeah.
the cure is paint.
Okay,
It needs, yeah, that's
Okay.
the main issue, is it needs
Right.
to be painted.
okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Yeah, Rod.
I understand it. I missed how long you need. How long
The
this process?
the color will be approved hopefully on the 21st is their next meeting. They brought my case up the prior meeting, maybe on the 7th of February, possibly, or yeah, I think of February. It didn't get approved. So hopefully on the 21st, I went back in there, talked to the manager and all that. The color should get approved on the 21st, and I should definitely have it painted, yes, of this month. It should definitely be painted within a month of the 21st.
So we're looking.
'Cause I need-
Our next meeting is on the 12th of April. So
Okay.
you should, if you're gonna come in compliance, it's gonna be before April.
Okay.
So
I I can ask a
That's what I'm
question.
trying to let you know.
Yeah, go, hang on a second.
Yeah, let's just,
So, you need more than a month.
Yes. That would be nice. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's all I-
Any other questions? Yes, Dave.
Maybe I missed it, but was the fence situation remedied?
No.
No, not yet.
Is waiting on the HOA causing you to hold off on fixing the fence?
I don't believe so. I just need to borrow somebody's tools to make a fence gate for it. It's like a decorative fence. It's not really a fence. It was just rotted out at the hinges, basically, but that wood needs to be replaced.
How long do you think it would take for you to get that?
That will definitely be fixed before the next meeting.
That was the only question I had.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Right there.
I'll take it. Go ahead.
Okay, in case number 225967, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence the following violations of City Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property located at 7609 Leon Avenue with the applicable codes, section 8-102, subsection 13, subsection B, exterior walls, and section 8-102, subsection 14, subsection A, fences maintained. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, Jose Sullivan, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation of which is received and entered as part of this record of this hearing. I further move that the said violation be corrected on or before April 12, 2022. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violations continue past that date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violations, any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Okay, so the motion is carried. That means you've been found in violation. You have until April 12th to bring the property into compliance. If you cannot bring the property into compliance because of the HOA or if you can't find a subcontractor or whatever, you need to come back and see us on April 12th and let us know that and ask for a continuance. Okay? Thank you. Next case, please. I think we're going to go back to 5661. Okay.
Number 22-5661, City versus Sarah Nicole Lugo, Milagros Lugo, Grisel Maria Rodriguez, and Jacob Elijah Lugo for the property located at 9008 Indigo Breeze Court. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 8-102-13C, roofs maintained in good repair. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. Lori Smith, Code Compliance. This case originated proactively on October the 17th, 2022. My inspection revealed a blue tarp on the roof, which suggests a defect which might emit rain or cause dampness in the walls or interior portion of the structure. At that time, I left a door hanger with a reinspection date of the 31st of December, 2022. My inspection on January the 5th, 2023 revealed no change. Therefore, a notice of violation was prepared with the compliance date of the 23rd of January, 2023. No one was at home, so I posted the notice letter at the front door and requested copies be sent for certified and first-class mail to the owner of record. I also requested a copy be posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. Mr. Chairman, Ms. Lugo contacted me on January the 6th, January the 9th, January 16th. The latest was February the 18th, 2023. She has been in communication with me, and she's been working with the insurance company to repair the damage sustained to her home by the storm, or the hurricane. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence of the violations taken by me on January the 5th, 2023.
Accept those, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Exhibit number 1 shows a notice letter posted at the front door. Exhibit number 2 shows the tarp on the roof, the west side of the structure. Exhibit number 3 shows the tarp on the roof on the east side of the structure. As of today's date, the site is not in compliance, and I am seeking a ruling. The respondent is here in the courtroom this evening and would like to address the board.
Thank you. Any questions for the code officer? Thank you.
Oh,
You have a question? Okay.
how long this been going on?
It started October the 17th of 2022, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You wanna, has she been sworn in? Come on, you can come up to the podium and then we'll swear you in.
You swear or affirm that the testimony or evidence you're about to give or present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
Milagros, Lugo, the address here or the address where I reside?
Your home address.
1268 Marquise Court, Rockledge, Florida, 32955.
Thank you.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
So, my home was, this is a brand-new home. It was built, it's only a year and 5 months old. When the storm hit the tree, I was informed. My kids go to college here at USF. I was informed about it. I called my insurance right away to see if we can rectify the situation. And it took several weeks for them to come in. And then because I'm not present at this location, I was advised to get a private insurance adjuster. So I hired a private insurance adjuster, and she informed me that she was taking care of the situation. She did go in. They did mitigation in the house. They checked for mold and everything. There's no mold or anything on the house. We were waiting for the insurance company to to tell us how much it was. I was informed by my insurance adjuster that they were offering $11,000 to fix the property. She said that wasn't going to be enough, that she was trying to get $100,000 to fix it. I says, well, I need to know what the damage is. So I believe it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did come here, and I did try to get some roofers to come in. I got 3 estimates, which the ranges are totally different. There's like from $2,500 to like $35,000. The second roofer, though, when he went, so I called the builder. The builder is D.H. Horton. I'm not under warranty because a tree hit the house. But when I just called, I said, listen, I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. Can you maybe send somebody to see the property so to give me an idea how much this is going to cost? Because no one's giving me answers. So they did have a roofer come in. It's my understanding, because I'm not in the property, it's my 2 children there, that I don't feel no one's went into the attic to see what was going on. So he did go in and he sent me these pictures, and he goes, we can't fix your roof yet. You have to get a structured engineer to come in because there's, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong, but he said the
Roof trusses, yeah.
they're broken, so you might have to get somebody to come in. So that's where I'm at right now, is trying to see if I can get somebody to come in to see. I did send pictures of this to another roofer, the one that gave me the low $2,500. He said that he doesn't think it's a significant damage, but he was going to talk to his boss. Because it's a brand new house, I'm a single parent, 2 kids, I want to make sure this is done. This is a big investment for me as well. So I want to be in compliance as well with the code enforcement. So I'm trying to do my best here to find out what's going on with this.
Do you want to submit those pictures into evidence?
Yeah.
Let Shauna see them, please.
Would you like, I have estimates of the different roofers too.
It's up to you. If you want to submit them into evidence, we'll certainly take them.
Okay. I did this while I was in work. I have the other one, and then I have letters from D.R. Horton proving that I did try to contact other people to try to get this done as quickly as possible.
Whatever you want to submit into evidence, let
Okay.
Ernie know, and he'll take them over to Sean. So, couple questions. Is anyone living in the house at the moment?
Yes, so I have a 21-year-old son and a 26-year-old daughter. Initially, when the hanger was put on there, I wasn't informed. I didn't know anything about it. My kids didn't know. Then a letter was sent in the mail, and I think how I found out was when Lori, she actually called me. The kids never gave me the letter. So I wasn't aware of it in the beginning.
Okay, what's the current status of your situation?
The current status right now is I'm waiting for the insurance. So when I spoke to my insurance adjuster, she said that maybe it's about, because she told me it was going to take a month. So in the beginning of January, the insurance company, Progressive, came in and did another appraisal on the home. They haven't, I just texted her yesterday, and she says they haven't received the appraisal, that I have to be patient. And I'm frustrated with her as well, because I'm like, wait a minute, this is just way too long for it to be taking this long. But I was advised, because I hired a private adjuster, I can't speak to the insurance company.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for the respondent? Bill?
Yeah, so, is the insurance company is aware of the structural damage that you?
See, I'm just confused with that as well, because the private adjuster that I hired, I signed papers, right? I didn't read it, and I can't fire her. I'm not happy with her, because there's a communication gap with her. So when I speak to her, I get very frustrated. So I asked, I said, well, did they give you a time limit of when they're going to do this? And all she said to me was that should be patient, don't worry, you should have the appraisal by a month. But this week is a month.
I'm just wondering how they're going to do an appraisal if they don't know if they're not aware of the structural damage.
Right. Well, she told me, because I said, did they go up into the attic? Did they? Because, like I said, I'm not present there to see what's going on. And then first she said yes. First she said no, and then she said yes. They are aware of what's going on. So that's where we're at the moment.
Is the city aware of the possible structural damage in the?
Nobody. I was not.
Well, I mean, I know that now, but I just meant we're bringing this case forward, and I don't know that if she's
Well, it
in
may
the.
not, I mean, depending on what the problem with the
Right.
trusses is, it may not be a safety problem.
I understand that. I just want to make sure that's part of the equation if we're trying to make a decision.
Maybe I can help a little bit. I
Okay.
used to do this kind of work,
Okay.
first-party property work for insurance companies. And what you would need to do is you would need to submit these pictures, no matter who took them, up in your attic space, to your PA, your public adjuster, and tell your PA that she needs to submit them to the insurance company.
Right.
So, it goes through these steps, and it does often take a little time, but you would need to do that.
And I did submit those as well to her. I did do that, and then I told her too that I was coming here today, and I told her that she should have been here as well, so because she knows more than I do, but she says, no, it's my responsibility.
Okay. Rod, you had a question?
Yes, I understand, I saw that proposal of, you mentioned $11,000 from the insurance company? Your insurance company, what did they do?
They didn't. They proposed $11,000, and they did send it to the mortgage company, but that was it. And then so she said that's not going to be enough, so that she was going back to get 100,000. And at first she said 100,000, then she said 30.
That's, I don't understand, because this, I think that was reasonable, in my opinion, but you know, that would have been fixed by the insurance.
Right, and that's when I looked at it, when I went in, because I'm not an inspector or anything like that, but when I did view the pictures that I have, because I have the pictures when the tree fell on the house and everything, and then when the one of the roofers came in, I looked at it and I said, it doesn't look significantly damaged. It looks like they don't even have to repair the whole roof. They have a huge tarp. I don't know if
Saw the pictures, yeah.
yeah, they have a huge tarp on there, which it's not the whole roof. It's just the end of the roof. It's just like, it's a portion of it that I said, because she says, oh, you have to repair the whole roof, but I really don't think, so that, the estimate of the 2,500, I said, I think that's reasonable, until the other roofer came in and said, hey, there's structure damage. And that was those pictures. So I don't know. That's where I,
Public adjuster is always, they've got a financial interest in settling for the highest amount because they get a percentage of it. So,
Go ahead.
I actually do this work now on the engineering side.
Questions, no opinions.
Yeah, so generally speaking, the process is, if there is a dispute, your insurance company is going to hire an engineer, correct?
Right, yeah, okay.
And so has your PA mentioned anything about asking the insurance company to get an engineer yet?
she has not mentioned anything about the engineer. I told her that roofer had told me that he thinks that's from D.R. Horton, the builder. So their roofer, he's the one that said that it looks like a structure damage. So that immediately I sent her the pictures and I told her, hey, this is what's going on. And again, it's frustrating speaking to her because it's just a communication gap problem with her. And so I don't know, I would assume, and I'm assuming, so I don't assume that the insurance company would have said, hey, we went up on your roof, the roof and also into the attic, and there's damage there. I mean, I don't know, would an insurance company just look at a roof? I would think they would go into the attic.
if they have an engineer come out and look.
Oh, so the engineer would have to, so I would have to ask for that.
Any other questions?
Not for her, but I have one for Director Barone.
Go ahead.
So I know the city is asking for a finding in this situation. It sounds like, to me, like that in this situation, she's in nowhere near a position to resolve this anytime soon. What does the city want us to?
If you're willing to give 60 days for compliance, and if she has to come back to update us.
Make sure your mic, somebody's mic.
What happened?
If the board's willing to give her 60 days to bring the property in compliance, or she can come in front of the board again and ask for an extension after 60 days.
Okay.
Okay.
30 days.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. You can have or you can
Oh,
you can have a stand. We're going to try to get you out of here as quick as we can. Yeah. And if there's no other question, you have a question? For who?
According to the city, you've inspected, our code enforcement officer inspected the property. It's safe to have her kids live there. We're coming onto rainy season soon, and
The only way we can determine whether it's safe or not is you would have to go inside the structure to do an interior inspection, and we have not done that at this point.
Thank you.
It's a fairly new house. The house is only a year old.
1 year. Oh.
So can it be structurally unsound? Yes, I mean, but this is only a branch, I believe, came down on a portion of the house.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
All right. I thought Brian might want to, just because he's an expert in this subject. All right, so in case number 22-5661, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exists on the property located at 9008 Indigo Breeze Court. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this this board has received from Code Enforcement Officer Lori Smith and Ms. Lugo, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violations be corrected on or before, let's see, May 10th, 2023. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation continues past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Hold on a second. You would need to state the ordinance section.
Oh, did I miss that? Sorry.
7.
Okay. Yeah, the applicable code section is 8-102, subsection 13, subsection C.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Brian, second. Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. So ma'am, you've been found in violation. You have until May 10th to bring that into compliance. If you're not in compliance by May 10th, doesn't have to be you, but somebody representing you needs to come to see us on May 10th and let us know the status and ask for an extension. No guarantee you'll get one, but you're welcome to ask.
Okay, is there anywhere that someone could gear me in the right way of getting an engineer to come out and do an inspection?
No. You're gonna have to, I think as stated, I think the first thing to do is to let your PA know that's your wishes.
Okay.
And maybe send her the pictures again and say you have some concerns. And I would start doing everything in writing. Okay, so you have a record. But no, I don't, there's nobody here tonight that can help you steer you in the right direction of getting an engineer to go out there and look at that. I apologize. Okay, do you need any assistance to?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. You sure? All right. Thank you for coming down and good luck. Next case, please.
Next case is case number 23-0117, City versus Brian A. Strouser. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of section 12-861E1, fences, excess height. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni and City Attorney Pam Shishon. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Tom Baroni, Code Compliance. This case this evening originated back in October of 2021 when the homeowner attempted to apply for a fence permit to install a 6-foot high wood fence in his front yard. A city code allows a homeowner to install a 3-foot fence in the front yard unless the front yard has a depth of 75 feet or more. Since the property did not have the necessary depth, the owner applied for a variance. At this first Board of Adjustment hearing on April 13, 2022, the board approved the variance without finding the necessary hardship to support their decision. Despite the city attorney promptly warning Mr. Strouser not to build the fence and telling him verbally and also in writing that the decision of the board was not final for 30 days and that the city was going to seek a rehearing of the variance request. Mr. Strouser came to the City Hall to get a fence permit, which was issued. A short time later, the construction of the 6-foot fence in the front yard was begun, and it was completed after the city emailed its motion for a rehearing to Mr. Strouser. The Board of Adjustment granted the city's motion for the rehearing, and the case was finally presented again in November 2022. The Board of Adjustment denied Mr. Strouser's request for the variance and denied a request from them for a rehearing. The property owner did not appeal. The notice of violation was prepared on January 11, 2023, with the compliance date of January 23, 2023. Since receiving an email from Mr. Strouser advising me that code staff is not welcome on his property, I honored his request and posted the notice of the letter of violation at the property line and requested copies be sent out certified and first-class mail. I also requested a copy be posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. My subsequent inspection noted no change. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence that was taken by me on January 12th and January 26th, 2023. Exhibit number 1 shows the posting of the notice letter at the property line. Exhibit number 2 shows the posting of the notice letter of the notice of hearing at the property line, as well as the 6-foot fence constructed in the front yard. I'd like to submit at this time.
We'll accept that, thank you. You, Jose, can you pop that back up? Yeah, either one, that's fine. Thank you.
As of today's date, there has been no change, therefore the property remains out of compliance. I would also like to remind the board that this case was on your February agenda, but that you granted the property owner's request for a continuance. Therefore, they had an additional month to come into compliance. We ask that the board find that there is a we ask that the board find that there is a violation of the city code, and if so, not to give the respondent more than 14 days to bring the property into compliance by either removing the wood fence or reducing the height of the allowable 3 foot. So that would be removing it from 6 feet to 3 feet.
Good. Any questions for the code officer?
Yeah, so just so I don't know if they can bring the picture back. Oh, well, maybe I can look at this picture. This is the fence that's going,
On the left-hand side of the
left-hand
photo,
side, yep.
you'll see a 6-foot fence that was constructed in the front yard.
Okay.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
It looks like it connects to the side yard fence,
Okay?
and it has some gates. Is
Right.
that is that the side, or is that part of the front?
That is the front yard fence.
Okay.
Anything in front of.
Let's come on up, come out to the podium.
Is considered the front yard. So if you have a house, say like this, you draw a line straight out from one side, a line straight out from the other side. Everything in front is considered the front yard. Everything behind, you'd have the side yard to here, side yard to the back of the house, but everything behind an imaginary line behind the house, that's your backyard.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Question to Officer,
Go ahead.
can you explain just the code again for me, just to, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to put a 6-foot fence in your front yard, you need a depth from the front property line to the front wall being more than 75 feet. Mr. Strasser does not have 75 feet.
And if you don't have the 75 feet, the maximum height is 3 feet.
3 feet.
Right, if you don't have that, you have to construct a 3-foot fence in your front yard. So you need more than 75 feet from the front property line to the front wall of the dwelling.
And it's, how many feet does he have?
It's not
Less
75
than
feet.
70.
Less than 75.
75.
Right.
And he went through the process that you explained, tried to get a variance, and it was
It was ultimately denied,
denied.
Right,
Okay.
and there was no appeal.
right.
And you're asking 14 days to correct this?
Yeah, this has been going on since 2021. It's been going back and forth, and so that's my request.
Any other questions?
But you're okay with 1 month?
I'm fine with, that's the board's decision,
The request was 2 weeks, but,
yes.
okay, is the respondent here? Yes. Want to upstate your name and address for the record. Have you been sworn in, sir? Have you been sworn in, sir?
Yes, I was, thank you.
Okay. Name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, my name is Brian Strausser. My address is exempt from public information.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Thank you. First of all, thank you for the approving the request for the continuance last month. The city initially gave me 10 days' notice, and as indicated in the letter I shared with Ms. Chairperson, my wife was traveling at the time, and I was caring for the 4 children, so was not able to be here. Thank you for that opportunity, because it's important that I'm here. I'd like to explain, I believe I'm not in violation, that the fence is done according to the the city ordinance. I'd like to explain that. A couple things. Mr. Barone said that in October of '21, I attempted to apply for a permit. Well, that's not accurate. I did apply for a permit, and I actually received that permit. I applied for it on October 25th of 2021. Here's a copy of the online submission if you'd like to see it. As well as that permit was then issued in accordance with the way it's built in May 3rd of 2022. The permit is attached with that and the sketch as well. So I built the fence in accordance with the permit. I'm not an expert, but I looked at the ordinance to see what is a permit. What does that mean in the city ordinance? And if I read the definition of a permit, it says it's a written permission issued by the city and required by this code for the construction, repair, alteration, or addition to a structure. So I built it in good faith according with the permit that was issued that I paid for as well. The issue of the variance request, again, that's a different board, obviously. It was for the existence of an RV, which Mr. Barone did not mention. That was the reason for the fence and the reason I had requested that the board give approval to have the RV there because I can't get my RV through the side yard. Here's the order, and the order is clear that it says the order of the variance, the first variance was approved. The city was for it, they approved it. The board unanimously approved it. And again, I'm not getting into all the details of that, but I'll try to speak what's relevant here tonight. Based upon this is the order, and I'll share it with you, but it says, based upon the testimony and evidence presented, the Board of Adjustment approved the variance upon finding that the request satisfied the hardship criteria and the applicant cannot park his RV in the side or backyards and has a right to have it and covered like anyone else, covered with a fence. Later turned out that the city should have never accepted, they directed me to go to the variance request for the RV. At the time, the development director was a person who was no longer working here. I understand he was arrested for bribery in connection with his job. He steered me wrong along with Gus Carpus too. They advised me to go through the adjustment process. After the city was in for it and after the city voted, after the board voted unanimously for it, the city attorney appealed the decision saying that a lot of different reasons, it was very confusing, but the bottom line is after the whole process, it turns out that the Board of Adjustment has no authority to hear an issue of RV parking. It's not in their under their guidance or under their authority to do so. So the whole variance request didn't work out. The city should have never proceeded around that way. They should have never accepted my application. They should have never accepted my money for that, which they have yet to refund. But the point is, aside of that, I applied for the permit. The permit was issued, and I built the fence according to what was approved in the permit. Now, in addition to that, Mr. Barone says I do not have 75 feet in my front yard. I disagree. Here is a copy of the survey. And if you see that, my property has 78.7 feet. So therefore, I can have a fence up to 6 feet, which is exactly what I have. Mr. Barone shared, he measures it from the front property line to the front of the building. But that's not accurate. If you read the definition, the actual statute that he's quoted, 12.861, in fact, I think you're looking at an amended violation because the first violation that was sent had the wrong ordinance, which I advised Mr. Barone, and he made that correction. But his language on the notice is actually outdated. When you look at the ordinance that's in place currently, it says, and I'll read it verbatim. It talks about the exception. It says, the height can be 6 feet when a front yard having a front setback depth of 75 feet or more. So the key is a front setback depth. And if you read the front setback definition, which is under section 1240 of definitions, it explains it's the distance between the street right-of-way line and the front line of a building or any projection thereof, excluding uncovered steps. Also, it says the front setback must be at least equal to the required front yard. So the required front yard for my property, since it's zoned as an R7 single-family residential, is 25 feet. I have that. I have 35 feet without any fence whatsoever. The definition of the front setback says the distance between the street right-of-way and the front line of a building. That's exactly what I have. When you measure that, I have 78.7 feet. So therefore, it's completely in compliance. What I ask is that you dismiss this violation and recognize that I built this in accordance with the permit that was issued, and it meets the definitions of approval. And I believe that's all I have.
Thank you. You can have a seat. Any questions for the respondent? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. So if I read it correctly, the permit that you were issued, it actually, does it specify in there that you can build a 6-foot-high fence? I thought, it looked like it did.
Yes, it did.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, and the sketch is there, and that's where the fence is.
Okay.
Just to clarify, my advice to you is that a permit that's issued by the building department, they don't have the authority to violate the city's ordinances. So if a permit is issued by mistake, there is plenty of case law that will support a city still enforcing its ordinances. Because if you think about it, a single employee who makes a mistake could do something terrible, like allow, a very large building or, something that is even unsafe in violation of the code by mistakenly issuing a permit. So that is actually kind of a red herring issue. It's not an issue that you need to
That was
worry
my,
about.
thanks, that was my next question.
And the city has never, the building department has never contacted me, made any suggestion whatsoever that they've canceled the permit.
Thank you.
I'm also a little confused about your explanation of how you're in compliance. I guess I need a picture. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't quite get the
Sure.
78 feet and,
Well, if you look at, here's the drawing. He's saying it's 78 feet. I don't know what that line is, if that's the property line, if that's the curb line.
I forgot, thank you, I'm glad you asked. Here's a sketch of what my.
Hang on a second. And he's taking it to a wall at his house that is set back from another piece of the wall, which is what we're gonna get to in a minute.
Yeah, if you look at, I did a sketch of my yard and where the house is, and I have 78.7 feet. When you look at the garage, which protrudes a little bit, that's the measurement that they're saying disqualifies me from. But clearly, you can see most of the yard is at that 78.7 feet, and the definition of the front yard setback allows it to be or any projection thereof. So the front of the building or. So you allow that difference in that.
but where you have, sorry.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
Where the fence is positioned now is in, if I'm looking at this correctly, is in front of the 78-foot number. It's considerably closer to the, the front property line than the 78 feet. That's,
Yeah, it's off the side of the house where it juts out, which encroaches into the 78 feet.
so you're proposing to move your fence back?
No, I'm proposing that the fence stays and I'm left alone by the city.
Okay.
It's in compliance. There's the The yard is 78.7 feet.
Okay.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Rod.
Did you have anything there before?
Where,
When you moved into the house or you built the house?
no, I moved into the house 6 years ago.
But you had no fence?
Correct,
And you had the pool?
correct.
Pool wasn't existent?
The pool was there on the side of the house.
This fence is screening the pool, it's covering
That fence was existing.
the fence?
Already had a fence
That's what I'm asking.
that screened the pool, correct.
Yeah, in front of the, was it
In the backyard.
In the backyard.
in the backyard,
Right?
I would call it a side yard, yeah.
side yard? Yeah, on the side.
Side, yes, the side yard.
But you wanted to, the new section is the one that comes down and then turn to the left. That's,
Correct.
goes back up.
Yeah, if you look at this,
From what I see from the plan.
right, if you look at the sketch, the new section is the dotted line, which is there.
I guess the question
Yes.
for Tom is does that count?
But there was a fence before, and the fence was 6 foot in the side yard.
Correct.
Which that's fine.
That's
Yeah,
fine,
and
yeah.
it's still 6 feet, yeah.
But the one
The
in the
question is the fence that he installed in the front yard.
Yes,
And if I could have one of you come up, have a seat, sir, for a minute,
thank you.
and explain to us why his interpretation is incorrect and that the 78.7 is not the correct dimension, or is it?
It is not. We have the same sketch of Mr. Strasser's property, and what the sketch that he gave you leaves out is the measurement that goes from the actual most forward portion of his house, which is the garage. The 78 feet goes to a part of the front of his house, but you have to measure from the most forward portion of your house, and that's his garage, and it's about 64 feet. So it isn't 78 feet, it's 64 feet. And therefore,
This position, not that position.
that is why in 2021, he was told he wasn't getting a permit then for the fence. And they said in order to have this 6-foot fence in your front yard, you would need to seek a variance for this. The reason why he needed the fence, being an RV, really has no bearing as to really, at this point, why he wanted the fence. That happened to be it. And at the time, the Board of Adjustment erroneously granted a variance because they didn't understand that they could not grant him parking privileges in the front yard. His only reason, he said, for wanting the fence was to hide this RV. Nobody could let him have the RV, and therefore really there was no need for the fence. And he called me the night after the Board of Adjustment meeting at 7 o'clock at night, and I was sitting in my office, and we talked, and at that time, I explained to him that he was not given a variance for an RV. He was only given a variance at that time for the fence, and that basically the city would be seeking a rehearing on this. I advised him during that phone conversation not to spend the money prematurely in building the fence because we were going to seek a rehearing, and also the decision of the board wasn't even final yet. It wasn't going to be final for 30 days because that's the appeal period. He told me that his spending habits were none of my business. And I told him that it wasn't his spending habits I was speaking to. It was, I didn't want him to waste his money at this point because we really didn't know what was going to happen. I got an email from him on Friday, April 29th at 6:02 p.m. Hello, Pam. During the city board BOA hearing yesterday evening, you advised that some of the properties which I referenced during my presentation had fences that were not in compliance with city regulations. As a homeowner, I was disappointing to learn that the city has not properly enforced its rules throughout my neighborhood. However, I am thankful that you did state the city will respond and take action towards the properties that are in violation Please provide me with your confirmation as to which of the 4 properties are not in compliance and provide an update on the specific action steps that will be taken. And I responded to him on Monday morning at 9 a.m., and I told him that a municipality is not required to enforce any of its ordinances. And it said one more sentence that has nothing to do with this, but I said, note, the decision of the BOA in your case is not final for 30 days due to an appeal period. The following day, I sent him another email and said, Dear Mr. Strasser, this is the follow-up that you requested after my meeting with the city manager and with city planner. And then going down, I said, additionally, any parking on a residential lot requires a proper parking surface, and any premature installation of the fence, which I remind you is not approved until issuance of the order and the expiration of the 30-day appeal period, may prevent an obstacle to your pouring concrete or laying pavers, etc. Once again, I am letting you know this in order to save you time and money. Furthermore, it is the city's intention to review the hearing and possibly file a motion for rehearing by the board. I believe I had another email from him where I also told him, let's see, May 6th, I sent him an email and said, I was made aware that you are moving ahead. And it was because one of the code enforcement officers told me that they saw him beginning to build the fence. I said, I was made aware that you are moving ahead. This is an unwise and premature move on your part. But you received sufficient notification that the decision is not final yet, and you are proceeding at your own risk. As I have told you, the city will be moving for rehearing. I then prepared the motion for rehearing and emailed him that prior to the fence being completed, he had obviously already started, but before it was completed, I believe it was may have been around the 12th or the 13th, I sent him the motion for rehearing that we requested from the board. The board granted the motion for rehearing, and when they reheard the case, they denied the variance. So that's where we are today, and because he has brought that up, back in late fall of last year, the city manager did offer him a refund, and he refused to accept it. So he decided to go forward instead with the BOA rehearing, and he's been offered a refund more than once.
For the permit.
The permit and for the Board of Adjustment application.
Okay.
Both. So he has refused to take that.
One last question for you. After the rehearing, which the variance was denied, is there an appeal process for the respondent?
There is a 30-day appeal period, just like with the first one.
Did he take advantage of that?
He did not appeal that.
Thank you, that's all I have. Question, go ahead.
You mentioned that the rules, the law, the ordinance says from the frontmost part of the house. Is that spelled out pretty clearly somewhere under?
I think it was when you read the ordinance, it talks about the foremost part of the property or the building.
Can we read the ordinance again?
What I read, it just says front of the house. It doesn't actually define it front yard, but if that's clearly defined in another
I think
ordinance.
it was from where you would measure. How does that read again?
Yeah, in the ordinance that we were given, it mentions nothing about what part of the house it would be used, so.
You said in the front yard, when the depth of the front yard is 75 feet or more.
So there does seem to be some ambiguity, right?
Common sense would tell you that you don't get to pick a spot.
That's fair, but I can see the argument of being, well, the garage isn't house because it's not livable space, but at the same time, it is part of the structure. So it seems like it would be important to spell out the front of the house is the forwardmost part of the full physical structure. And if that's the case, then there's clearly not 75 feet.
No, there was something else you read before this. This wasn't, This was how you measure. This wasn't just the fence ordinance. It was,
What you were gonna ask, right?
yes, it was how you do the measurement. So that's not in, the fence ordinance itself here talks about what type of, how high a fence you can have based on different depths of the yard. This doesn't explain in this particular section of our ordinances how you do the measurement, but it's measured from the foremost part of the structure. I mean,
So is that-
otherwise you could be right all the way back at the front door, which would be a little, alcove.
5 feet,
So-
right?
I would assume that that's spelled out somewhere,
So,
though, is what I'm.
I'd have to look in our land development regulations for that.
Also apply for a fence permit. You have to have a survey of your property submitted with your application, and it tells you the depth of on the survey, it shows you the depth in the front walls.
Oh, so we have, I mean, we've got a copy of that survey floating around somewhere that shows,
Survey?
yeah, that shows that it's clearly not 75 feet.
You got 2 copies sitting in front of you.
Yep.
It's 64 feet.
Well, these have handwritten 64 feet, but the printout shows 75.
Extrapolated from the other measurements on his survey, and all the other walls were measured, there was dimensions on all the other walls except to that particular wall. So by adding in, by using the other measurements, you can extrapolate the 64 feet.
And look at it this way, you can't bifurcate your structure in order to allow yourself another 11 feet for a setback. So in other words, in order for that 78 feet to be realistic, he would have to bifurcate that garage and make an imaginary line to go through that garage as if it doesn't exist in order to get the extra 11 feet.
And the garage, together with the rest of the structure, would be considered the house, by, common definition.
It's the footprint, it's the footprint of the property.
That's all I was asking. I mean, it seems like we are talking about definitions of specific terms here, and front yard is a fairly open, in that regard, if we excuse common sense and focus on the language. I mean, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, if I were in his position and I was fighting tooth and nail to keep my fence,
With what the city's provided, I don't think it's 100% clear.
Well, I just cleared it up for you.
Yeah, I thought,
I mean, not,
just to ask
Hang on a second, one at a time. Are you done?
Yep.
Bill?
the attorney, you said in a court of law, the garage would be normally considered part of the house, okay.
And again, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to be able to bifurcate that piece of the property in order to gain 11 feet. So, any other questions?
I had one more question.
Go ahead.
For Director Baroni. So in order to come into compliance, the two possibilities, I'm guessing, that either take the fence extension down or reduce it to 3-foot height. Is that?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
actually,
Hang on, one at a time. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, reduce it to 3
3
feet?
feet
What,
high.
what does that mean?
3 feet high.
2 feet high?
3 feet high.
3 feet.
Because
Okay.
because of the lack of 75-foot setback, the maximum height for a front yard fence would be 3 feet.
So what does that mean? Take a chainsaw to it, cut it?
Whatever makes it work.
How
He
do you?
can take the fence down and sell it and put a 3-foot fence up. There's a number of different ways he can take care of that, which is not in our purview.
Yeah, and I get it.
Brian?
if he did that, he would then be out of compliance with the RV again, correct?
No, he can never,
You can never have a,
Never,
Can't
like,
store an RV.
can't store it at all.
yard.
never have the RV there. Nobody can get, our ordinances say you can't park something like that in your front yard. It doesn't matter if you have a 10-foot wall around it, you cannot park an RV in the front yard,
Okay.
so.
That's really neither here nor there for tonight. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll do it.
May I cross-examine?
Ernie or Shauna?
Yes, he could,
Okay.
and also do a rebuttal if he wishes to do that.
Thank you, yeah, I appreciate that. Mrs. City Manager, you stated that, I'm sorry, Mrs. City Attorney, pardon me. You said the city manager offered to refund my fees, for the variance request. You failed to mention that the offer was contingent upon removing the fence. Would that be correct?
He had sent me more than one letter. One letter did say it was contingent on getting into compliance.
Correct, which would be
Because
remove the
the
fence,
fee
correct.
go in front of the Board of Adjustments.
Correct, so it wasn't a
The Board of
refund.
Adjustment- I'm sorry, he's not letting me finish the answer.
Well, I've heard
One
enough.
at a time. Let her finish, then you can continue.
So it wasn't a refund.
Let her finish, and then you can continue.
The Board of Adjustment fee is for use of the Board of Adjustment and for all of the administrative procedures that go along with it. So in order to get a refund of that, you should not use those services. Mr. Strasser chose, even though he had been told by that time that he would never be allowed to have the RV and that the 6-foot fence was in violation, he chose to go forward anyway and utilize that procedure.
Just hold on. You will get your chance.
But I didn't ask that.
Okay, listen, sir. If you're not going to follow procedures, I will ask to have you removed. It's your choice. Okay? Let her finish, and then you can state your piece, okay?
He chose to utilize that procedure a second time. Therefore, he really shouldn't get a refund of the Board of Adjustment fee. We were offering him a refund of the Board of Adjustment fee to put him back into the position he was from day one when he says we misled him toward the Board of Adjustment. We were willing to accept that and refund the fee and everybody move on. He said no.
Your turn.
One second.
You have anything else, sir?
Yes, I do. I'm looking at my notes. Just
Okay.
1 second.
Take your time.
So the violation says the requirement is a depth of a front yard, 75 feet or more. And the depth of my front yard, when you look at that diagram that I did, it shows you the shape of it. It is 75 feet or more. Now, when you look at the ordinance, and I'll pull it up just a second here. The question of using the garage as a protruding point of the house or not, it doesn't go in the definition of what a front setback is. And clearly, you can see just by the discussion between the city attorney and the director, not even understanding the definition of what the front setback is. I've got 78 point whatever feet. The question, it's almost, if that fence was on the right side of the yard, it would be okay. And code enforcement told me that before, but now that it's on the left side, it's not. It doesn't make a lot of sense. There's one front yard, there's not multiple front yards. The other fact is with the permit being issued, that's why I built the fence. I went to the city, I asked for guidance, I asked to approve the fence. They issued the permit and I built it according to that. The variance request was all under the request to have the RV. The RVs have since been sold, and it's not even part of this equation now. So I just ask that you see that there is some leeway with this definition. Mr. Redding said, yes, it is ambiguous, and I ask that you find in favor that the permit was issued. I built it in my best faith possible. Granted, there were some discussions with the city attorney. She sounds very professional when she reads her voicemail or her emails now, but I can assure you her candor when during the phone conversations was a little bit different than what you get to see here. I didn't quite understand a lot of the things she said because she's so very heated in her discussions. She's trying to maybe paint a picture that I wasn't listening to her. I was just wanting to have a peaceful process. So I ask that you find that there is no violation and allow me to keep the fence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
have a question.
Go ahead.
So, Mr. Strausser, sorry. Were you informed at any point by anyone that you are in, actually, you would be in violation if you build 6 feet fence? Before building it?
When I initially applied for the permit,
Mhm.
there was a lady who was in charge, she's no longer at the city. She said that, yes, as you have more than 75 feet, it'll be approved. When I went to apply for the permit, then someone from the city called and said, we can approve it. And I said, well, why not? So we had discussions, which then that brought me to have a discussion with Mr. Anisi, Amir Anisi, who then pushed me through the Board of Adjustment process. Then, during that time, the city issued the permit.
Okay. And after that, did anyone tell you that it wouldn't be wise to build a 6-foot fence on your property?
I think we've already had testimony to that effect.
Yeah, I'm just asking him about that, if he remembers that conversation.
I do not remember that conversation. That conversation was mainly about the existence of the RV.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You can have a seat, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Again,
Before you do that, I would like to put the emails into evidence.
we'll accept those, thank you. I'm sorry, I ignored, did you have any rebuttal? Okay. What you're putting into evidence right now are the emails that you read into the record? Okay.
I did have a question for Mr. Baroni, if that's okay to cross-examine him?
Too late,
Why is it too late?
because we closed that portion of the meeting. You had your opportunity. I asked you if you had anything else to say. You said you were done.
Sure, I just now thought of it.
Well, I'm sorry.
won't take long.
If council has no objection, I have no objection, but the time for that is over.
I don't know why it would hurt.
I'm not objecting, but.
These are informal rules of procedure.
These are not informal rules of procedures. These are rules of procedure that are in accordance with Robert's Rules of Orders. And your time is up. I asked you if you had anything else to say. No, if you, sir, I'm gonna ask that you stop where you're at. I've told you no. I'm gonna ask you to sit down. If you don't sit down, I will have you removed. Your choice. Thank you. And let me know when you've had a chance to look at those emails. And then
Sure. We're still in the discussion, right?
We were about to entertain a motion
Okay, so-
until the emails were entered into evidence, and that's where we'll pick up after everyone has read the emails. And then after we have a motion and a second, then we'll do discussion. And that discussion, just so you understand, is discussion amongst the board. That's not an opportunity for you. Okay? Okay, I just want to make sure we all understand.
I'm good.
Good?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry.
All right, at this point, I'll entertain a motion. Go ahead, Rod.
In case number 23-0117, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace code exists on the property located without confidential address. Applicable section is 12-861, subsection E, subsection 1, fences and access heights. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, Tom Baroni, and the owner of the property, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the said violation be corrected on or before April 12, 2023. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation continue past the date set for compliance. Upon the following factors, the gravity of a violation, any actions taken by the violator is to correct the violation, any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
The city asked for 2 weeks. I feel like this is one of those situations where it's been going on for a number of years. I think we should just give it 2 weeks. I don't think it should be a month.
I considered that if I was getting between the $25 or $50. So I gave it 1 month just to be, give him a little bit ample time to correct this violation and to be in compliance. I asked Director Baroni, and he's fine with that. An extra 14 days, it's not gonna do any harm. So that's why I just wanted to give that ample time. Unfortunately, I hate to see situations like this. This is the code. And from my understanding, from seeing the situation, I've never heard of it before, obviously. I learned a lot, but at the same time, if I was directed not to do or build something from the beginning, and getting a permit, I've read that before, does not mean that you can be in violation of the ordinance or for different.
Okay, so he's not in favor of that, bottom line.
So I'm not,
Well, that's okay. And
let's
if
give
the record
our
knows,
residents.
Any
I'm not
further
here to fight
discussion?
that battle, so.
I just have a clarification. This says that it's subsection E, subsection 1. This one says subsection B, subsection 1. So I just, for clarification, I'm wondering, is it E or is it B?
It's E1A,
E1A.
E1B.
E1B.
Did I read
Well,
it
you
right?
read,
Yeah, you read it right. You read it correctly.
You read it correctly.
Okay, yeah, I usually.
Any further discussion?
So,
Seeing none, all in favor?
aye.
aye.
Opposed? No nays.
No, I'll say nay.
You got one nay, okay.
2 nays.
2 nays. Okay, let's have a roll call vote. Gina?
Yay.
Rod?
Obviously, yeah.
Bill?
Nay.
Yay?
Nay.
Yay.
Okay, motion still carries. So you've been found in violation. You have until April 12th to bring the property into compliance. If you're not in compliance by April 12th, a fine of $25 will begin to accrue. Thank you. And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the hearing, or you can leave. It's up to you, okay? Next case, please. So I think we're going to move to unfinished business and get some of those folks out of the way. We're going to be looking at case 22-4274.
Case number 22-4274, City versus Gustavo Vargas, Vanessa Vargas Toner, Andres Vargas, and George Germain Vargas for the property located at 8206 Hardy Place. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight.
Good evening, board members. Jose Silva, co-compliance officer. This was a case I presented last month for a damaged roof. Mr. Vargas was here with his son. It was an insurance issue. I received an email yesterday from the insurance company that was forwarded to me in a chain advising that the case had been settled. So Mr. Vargas is here now going to be asking for an additional 30 days until they can get the roof put on the house.
Okay.
That is it.
Okay, so he's asking for a 30-day continuance. The case has been settled with the insurance company?
Yes, sir. I have the email here that I can present.
If you would put that into the record, that'd be great.
Want me to read it for you?
It's up to you if you want to.
Yes,
You can
I'll
either, you can
take
read it
care
or
of
you can summarize it, whatever is easiest.
It was from Beatrice at finslaw.com. It says, "Good morning. A few minutes ago, we talked on the phone about documents pending delivery. I was looking in the files of the case that appeared with your name and managed to find the information of the person who communicated the settlement to you. Claudio Baricio will explain the process in more detail and will be sending you pending documents today. Therefore, tomorrow's call with the lawyer will not be necessary since we hope to have this resolved today."
Thank you. Any questions for the code officer? Go ahead, Jean.
Do you think that this can be done in 30 days?
He said he received the check already,
Okay,
and it's just a matter of getting it done.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Oh, go ahead.
Somebody.
Okay,
I'll do it.
sure.
I need practice. In case number 22-4274, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace code exists on the property located at,
8206.
why can't I find it?
8206 Hardy
Oh,
Place.
there it is. Duh. 8206 Hardy Place. Violations of subsection 8-102, subsection 13, subsection C. Roofs maintained in good order. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, Mr.
Jose Silva.
Jose Silva. Thank you. along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violation be corrected on or before April. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh.
We don't have
Okay.
All you had to do.
we don't have a script for that.
All you had to do was say the violation, the address, and
Okay.
grant the continuance, or not.
Okay, I move
Start
that we
over.
grant the continuance until April 12th, 2023.
You accept, are you okay with that? Okay. Before we get a second, I do want to have one clarification. Jose, the email itself is in Spanish,
It's in Spanish, and I had to use Google Translate.
so the front page, just for the record, the front page is the translation of the Spanish,
Yes, sir.
and you're testifying that it's accurate.
It is very accurate.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no nays. Let him know that he has an extension until April 12th.
Who was the second?
Rod?
Yes.
That was you?
Yeah. Okay, would you ask him to please signify to you that he understood what you just told him? We're all good?
We're good.
All right,
I told
thank
them
you.
If it's not done by then, to come back.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Sure, okay, 2-minute break.
Back.
5814, yes.
Case number 22-5814,
Here we go.
City versus Daniel Huang and Ming Huang for for the property located at 8020 Terrace Ridge Drive. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight.
And are the respondents here? Did you want to, state your name and address, please?
Daniel Wong, 8020 Terrace Ridge Drive, Temple
Okay.
Terrace, 33637.
Floor is yours, sir.
I am requesting an extension of 120 days.
Hang on a second. I don't know if he can hear you now, because I know I can't. You're good? Okay,
I'm
proceed.
requesting an extension of 120 days because I'm currently.
How many?
120 days, so I can take care of this matter with the insurance company to keep dragging their feet, and I'm requesting mediation at this point.
Mediation with the insurance company? Okay.
Through the state.
And did you request it already, or you have?
I've already requested it.
Have they given you a mediation date?
No, because it says it takes some time for them to file it and everything and get the third-party adjuster in there, but he said it should be happening within 45 days.
Okay,
based
so
on
you-
email.
45 days for mediation, and you think you need another 40 days or 80 days,
Exactly,
whatever?
because, yes, then I'm gonna decide if I'm gonna repair it out of my own pocket or the insurance company, which I believe they're lowballing me right now.
Okay.
They're trying to offer me $800 for the damage, to my house, the roof, and that's why I keep dragging it on since 2022.
Wow.
I've been in constant contact with them, the insurance company, and letting them know, every week I'm calling them and saying, what's the situation? They keep dragging it on, saying, oh, we're gonna do a leak detection on your house, we're gonna do this and that. And then I said, yeah, and then they try to offer me $800 after my deductible. And I had an estimate on the roof, it's over $23,000 already, and that's why I'm fighting this with them. And that's why the tarp's on the house at this point.
Okay.
To prevent further
Just so you know, typically, we don't give 120-day extensions. We like to keep you invested and coming back in to see us to let us know, make sure things stay on track. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities to get a 30-day extension, but I've been up here for a long time, and I don't think we've ever given anybody a 120-day extension. But that's up to the board.
Yeah, I'm just requesting that because it's so hard for me to get out of work, to come to
Yeah.
this hearing, and I'm going to show up because I definitely have a valid case here. I just ask them for that time so that I can have everything resolved by then.
Okay.
So I have to keep coming in front of the board as well as you, Mr. Chairman, and by that time, I'll have a brand new roof put on either way.
Okay. Appreciate your candor. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, so would you be, I agree with what Mr. Pogorich said. We typically don't give that long of an extension. Would you have a problem coming once a month to give us an update? Is
No
it-
problem, because I work so many hours, at my current job, and it was a issue for me to come and work early today. I had to take time off of work, and I didn't expect the hearing to last this long. I thought I was gonna be in and out, but I had to leave work early, use my.
Do you have somebody that can come in your stay?
They wouldn't be able to speak on my behalf as well as I would be able to.
Okay.
I'm the owner of the property.
Rod?
Yes, I have a question. Originally, have you been in front of us before?
No, this is the first time because they sent me notices, but I've been in constant contact with Lori Smith. Let her know what the situation is, and she let me know, as long as you keep in contact with me, let me know what's going on, then I'm gonna, make
No,
sure.
I'm asking you this because I was gonna lean towards giving you 60 days, maybe bend the rules a little bit. But since you've never been here before, I'm going back to the 30 days.
I mean,
Sorry.
this is the first time since I received these letters here,
It's
But-
it's not that he didn't show up. It's just that he hasn't been asked.
To come.
Come,
come
oh,
here, yeah.
oh, you've never been asked to come?
Well, I sent in a request through Lori Smith in
Okay.
lieu of me attending because of my difficulty coming to work and missing work. And I wrote it,
see.
it was in email fashion. I submitted it properly and she presented it on my behalf in lieu of my present last month.
Yeah. So he was here last month via email.
Okay, then that makes a difference
Okay.
for me.
Any other questions?
I would ask
Hang on a
Not
second.
for him.
Hang on. Go ahead, Rod.
Among us, is anybody have?
Hang on. We can talk about that later. Bill?
I just had a question for Director Barone. Do you have any issues with us giving longer than a 30-day extension for this work?
I have no problem with more than 30 days. I'd like to see 60 days, but no more. That's my.
Okay. All right, thanks.
I got a
Go ahead, Dave.
question. Yeah, I know we've done this before. Would it be possible if he's staying in contact with Director Barone or one of his members that they could just come in and say, continue? to
Anything's
request an
possible.
extension?
Anything's possible.
I mean, is that,
And, you as the board make a decision at that time whether, there's a reason if 60 days goes by and he still hasn't got a roof, you will make a decision at that time based on the facts presented to you. Any other questions?
I just think
Go ahead.
you're asking if it would be something he could work out with Director Barone.
Yeah,
where he
yeah,
could
like if Lori
communicate with him and then
or Tom can
Barone-
come up and
It's
say.
been done in the past, but I don't want to give him any false hope that every time he does that, that you guys are going to just say yes to another extension. The decisions are made based on the facts presented to you. So, any other questions? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
Yes. In case number 225814, I move to grant the applicant, to grant the violator 60 days till, that makes.
May 10th.
May, 60 days will make it May 10th, 2023.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no nays, motion carries. So you have until May 10th. If your mediation doesn't happen or something else doesn't happen, you're going to need to come back in front of us and let us know.
Or is it a possibility I could just speak?
You can go that route if you wish. Again, extensions are not guaranteed. We will hear the case, we will hear if you send him an email, they'll read it into the record, and this board will make a decision based on that. So it's your choice.
So either way, I have to show up in 60 days unless he agrees that I can speak to him and he can extend it for me.
Well, no, he doesn't make the decision to extend it, we do. So it's your choice, you can send him an email, he can read it into record, it's been done in the past, or you can show up and let us know what's going on. And then based on whatever happens, one way or the other, this board will make a decision as to whether or not to give you another extension.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Come back in 60 days if I need that time.
Yes. Okay? Good luck. Next case?
Case number 22-6727, City versus Richard G. Lowe, for the property located at 511 Nantucket Drive. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight.
Name and address for the record, sir.
Good evening. My name's Richard Lowe. I live at 511 Nantucket Drive. Mr. Barone came there from the last meeting that we had, and I'm like 90% cleaned up, and I would like to have another 30-day extension so I can get that finished. The dumpster in my front yard is almost full.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any questions?
I have a question for.
Go ahead.
Mr. Barone, do you have any problem with the?
No, Mr. Lowe's made an enormous cleanup. And like he said, the dumpster's almost full. It's a 30-yard dumpster.
Oh,
All right, great.
Made progress.
if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
No,
Go ahead, Bill.
So in case number 22-6727 for the property located at 511 Nantucket Drive for code violations, section 10-34, 22-35, subsection 2, 8-102, subsection 18, subsection D, 8-102, subsection 13, subsection K, and section 10-3, subsection B. I move that we extend the date for compliance for 30 days until April 12th, 2023.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no nays, you have your extension, sir.
Thank you.
How you enjoying retirement? Okay, so gentlemen, we are now going, and ladies, we are now going back to the first case, 22-5134, and we will be following the agenda as written thereafter.
Case number 22-5134, City versus Nina Icaovella and Joseph Ficarrotta for the property located at 11706 North 51st Street. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of section 12-957 parking lot design standards maintained in good repair. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and the notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Tom Baroni, Code Compliance. This case this evening originated back in August of 2022 when I noted low tree limbs in the front parking lot that had that were low-lying tree limbs in a substandard parking lot in which city ordinance requires a durable, stabilized, and dustless surface. I reached out to the property owner on August 19, 2022 to have a discussion on the trees and the parking lot issues. Inspection on September 14th noted no change, therefore I generated a notice of violation with a compliance date of October 14, 2022. I also requested a copy to be sent out certified in first-class mail. I also requested the notice to be posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. I did reach out to the owner on September 19th, 2022 to have a discussion about the violations. My inspection on the October 14th, 2022 noted that the tree limbs had been trimmed, however, the parking lot still remained out of compliance. On January 11th, I did speak to him, the owner, again, and advised him he advised me that he was getting estimates to blacktop the parking lot. On February 16th, inspection noted no change. At this time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence that was taken by me on December 16th, 2022. Exhibit number 1 shows the front parking lot with potholes, gravel, and dust.
We'll accept those, thank you.
Actually, I have another one too.
It's just the same as.
Same picture.
Yeah, it's the same picture. My inspection on March 8th today noted no change, therefore the property still remains out of compliance. This is a coffee shop that's on 51st, just north of Fowler. It's the second building on the left-hand side.
Okay.
Nice little coffee shop there.
The one on the dead-end road?
There's a barrier there that prevents you to, it's actually like a one-way street.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
You can't go around it, so, but,
Felicity, is that the one?
yes, yep.
Okay, gotcha.
So the,
Any questions for the code officer? One at a time.
This one?
Go ahead.
Did you speak to the owner?
I spoke to him several times. I didn't say that in my statement, but I spoke to him like 4 or 5 times.
And he's the owner of the building and property?
He owns that building and also the building just north of it. There's 2 buildings that he owns. But the issue with the parking lot, he owns that property.
Bill.
He's aware of that?
Yeah?
Aware of the situation, aware of the violation, and aware of all that?
He's well aware of it.
Okay.
Bill?
How recent was the photograph that we saw of the potholes?
March 8th.
It was
I didn't see.
fairly recent.
No,
February
March 8th.
I guess, let me just cut to
February
my,
16th.
let me cut to my real
Okay,
question.
okay.
Are any of the potholes in there deep enough or bad enough that they would cause damage to a car tire or
No,
anything
no,
like that?
no.
Okay.
But just for clarification, the photos are dated February 16th.
Okay.
Any other questions? Is the respondent here?
No.
Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Give me this one.
Go ahead.
I'd rather have all the fun. In case number 22-5134, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace Code exist on the property located at 11706 North 51st Street. The code sections are 12-957. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has just received from Code Enforcement Officer Director Baroni, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which have been received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the said violations be corrected on or before April 12th, 2023. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day of violation that continues past the set compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violators to correct the violation, any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Next case, please. which I believe is 226320.
Case number 22-6320, City versus Ron Mogerman, TT Holdings LLC, for the property located at 12909 North 56th Street. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 8-1665A, minimum standards commercial buffer fences. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, board members. Lori Smith, Code Compliance. This case originated proactively on November the 23rd, 2022. My inspection revealed the south side chain link fence in disrepair. At that time, I left a door hanger with the reinspection date of the 12th of December, 2022. My inspection on December the 12th, 2022 revealed no change. Therefore, a notice of violation was prepared with the compliance date of the 27th of December, 2022. Affidavit of service was obtained by hand delivery to store associate Tyann Banks. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence of the violation taken by me on December the 12th, 2022 and March 7th, 2023.
Accept those, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Exhibit number 1 shows south side chain link fence in disrepair. Exhibit 2 and number 3 shows exactly the same thing. South side fence, chain link fence in disrepair. As of today's date, the site is not in compliance, and I am seeking a ruling.
Very good, thank you. Any questions for the code officer?
Yeah, sorry.
Bill?
Just the standard one, any communications with the, recent communications with the
I'm actually, to be honest, Mr. Snelling, today I had a gentleman reach out. It really wasn't so much for this case. It was a repeat case for the dumpster back at the same location, which he was contacted by the regional manager to come in and repair the rear dumpster enclosure, which is a repeat violation. I said something about the code board this evening for the south side chain link fence. He was aware of the situation and let me know that they will be in next Monday and Tuesday to work on the dumpster enclosure, and they will have this chain link fence fixed as well by next Wednesday, if the board would just give them a couple more days.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Tina?
That was my question as well.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Assume that respondent is not here, right?
No, sir, they're
Okay,
not.
okay, so I'll entertain a motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
However you want to do it. Okay, all right. All right, so in case number 22-6320, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exists on the property located at 12909 North 56th Street, Code Section 8-166, subsection 5, subsection A. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from Code Enforcement Officer Lori Smith, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violation be corrected on or before, I should remember this, shouldn't I? April 12th, 2023. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation continues past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no nays, motion carries. Next case, please.
Case number 22-6653, City versus Helen R. Karl Brown for the property located at 707 Aberdeen Circle. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 12-860, outdoor storage equipment, inoperable vehicle, Section 12-8593, RVs, boats, and trailers, unauthorized vehicle and driveway, Section 10-34, sanitation, keep premises clean, and Section 8-10222, maintenance of structures maintained in good condition. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Jose Silva. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated December 14, 2022. My inspection at the time noted an inoperative vehicle, a box trailer in the driveway of the residence, debris accumulations in the driveway side yard with large amounts of trash, rubbish, along with appliances. This time I left the door hanger with a compliance date of January 3rd, 2023. My inspection on January 10, 2023 noted no change, so the notice of violation was completed with a compliance date of January 30, 2023. Posted the notice at the home as well as City Hall. Also mailed copies both certified and regular mail to the address of the registered owner. My inspection on January 31st, 2023 noted no change. This time I'd like to submit 6 photographs. Notice posted at the property, trailer and inoperative vehicle in the driveway, along with the expired tag. A cluttered carport with yard accumulations and yard accumulations with appliances. I did try to reach out to Ms. Brown before the hearing. Prior to setting it up to the hearing, all the numbers we had were no good in the system. She did reach out to me yesterday. Ms. Brown says she cannot be in here because she's in a wheelchair and her husband is in a rehab center and she has no one to help her get here tonight.
Okay.
Also, it is in partial compliance. The trailer has been removed from the driveway. I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance.
We'll accept that. Thank you. Any questions for the code officer? Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, so, is it just she and her husband, as far as you know, that live on the?
As far as I know, she has 2 sons. She says they're not around, so it's just her because her husband's in a rehab facility.
So the situation where she says she has no one to transport her here, that's the same situation as far as her being able to clean up this mess?
Yes, sir.
She's in a wheelchair and her husband's in a rehab?
Yes, sir.
Does she have was there any possibility or did she give any indication that at what date or if she had any plans to fix any of these?
I asked her what took so long to get a hold of me, and she says basically, she said it just fell through the cracks with her on contact. She has nobody to help her to get it cleaned up.
Okay, so basically no plans for remediation?
She has none.
She expressed to you anyway, so.
I said if we could find somebody, a group to help, or you be interested in that. She was very wishy-washy with that. But then she said she was agreeable to that. Problem is trying to find somebody to help.
Rotary. Might reach out to the Rotary Club or reach out to the Women's Club or reach out to.
There's a lot of stuff there that
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to put the Women's Club or our volunteer groups to have to clean up.
I saw a lot of cans of paint or something.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
Okay, any other questions?
Most of it is trash. Is all trash, or is she storing these, or what do you?
It's appliances, buckets of paint, then the carport. It's got that screen that's falling apart. It's all full of junk all the way back. Refrigerator side yard, a TV in the side yard.
There's an inoperative vehicle too, right?
The inoperative vehicle.
It's not just.
With 2021
She
tag.
consider that a trust. What do you do?
Okay, any other questions for the code officer?
None.
And obviously respondent's not here, so I will entertain a motion. Somebody.
I'll do it. In case number 226653, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence
Yeah, do that one.
the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property located at 707 Aberdeen Circle, with the applicable violations, City Code sections 12-860, outdoor storage equipment, that was corrected. Section 10-34, sanitation premise clean, and section 8-102, subsection 22, maintenance of structural deck.
Miss one.
No, that one was corrected.
Trailer was
So
building.
you still have to, list it and then say it's been corrected.
Yeah.
Yes, and section 12-859,
Subsection
subsection 3. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation of which received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there no fine imposed on the violations of code section 12-859 subsection 3, because the violation was brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing. I further move that the remaining violations be corrected on or before April 12th, 2023. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that date, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violations continue past that date for compliance. Upon considering the following factors: the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yes.
3 violations.
This, obviously, the person is in, I guess, dire straits as far as getting this remediated. However, it's pretty bad. I mean, it's an eyesore for the neighborhood. I mean, if I lived next to that person, I would want some action taken. So, and typically in situations where we have multiple violations, especially ones that aren't even related to a lot of these, there's a couple of them that aren't even related. We usually give $50 per day. I would like to have some sort of, I don't know if increasing the violation is an incentive for people to do this stuff or not, but that's my feeling. I feel
I saw that. That's why I based it on, I made it $25 per day. They're all related. It's mostly sanitary. I see the vehicle could be. Now, I also considered that maybe they're both ill. Nobody's helping them. Maybe that, I don't think that the height or the 50, because the $25 can turn into $25,000 pretty fast. So it's not, I don't agree with the height of the violation. If it was something more, I thought it was something, I know it's an eyesore. I would not want that to be next to anybody's house. But I have the feeling that they might, they're having a situation, so that this might get their attention. Now they have a month to correct that, or at least, and as Lori said, they corrected one violation, and they need that time. Maybe they got ill, they're elderly, so that's why I just wanted to remain on the $25 per day.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think increasing it is going to offer any additional incentive, to be honest.
Actually, for this,
For this scenario, I don't think that's the case.
Any other comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries. Next case, please.
Case number 23-0105, City versus Norma D. Redmond, trustee for the property located at 730 Downs Avenue. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 10-3B, sanitation, grass, weeds. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated by me on January 6, 2023 for overgrown conditions. I left a door hanger with a reinspection date of January 12, 2023. My reinspection on January 24th showed no change, so a notice of violation was generated on that date with a reinspection date of January 31st. posted a notice at the site as well as at City Hall for the 10-day requirement, and copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the owner of record. My reinspection on February 20th showed no change, so I prepared a notice of hearing on that date, and the case was scheduled for the March Municipal Code Board meeting. This time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence taken by myself on January 24th. The site is in compliance. I'd also like to submit an affidavit of compliance, and I'm seeking a ruling.
We'll accept that, thank you.
Exhibit number 1 just shows the notice of violation posting.
Any questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Thank you.
In case number 23-0105, I move the city is proven by a greater weight of the evidence of the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code did exist on the property located at 730 Downs Avenue, Code Section 10-3B. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be no fine imposed because the violations were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion,
Ooh.
3 seconds.
close. Motion and a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Next case, please. Should be 5006.
Case number 23-5006, City versus Lambro Tampa LLC. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 8-56 Fire Suppression Systems. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Fire Inspector Cletus Squires. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Wondering when we're going to get to hear from you.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Cletus Squires, Fire Inspector for the City of Temple Terrace. This case was generated by myself on January 20th, 2023. I've been dealing with the property dating back, I performed an annual fire inspection on the property on October 20th, 2020. And at that time, found in violation the fire sprinkler system not being inspected per municipal code and NFPA, Florida Fire Prevention Code, and within the last 12 months. And last time it was inspected, that the contractor red tagged it for having critical deficiencies within the system that have not been maintained or are corrected since he just did the inspection.
Since October of 2020?
22.
22.
That's when I did my inspection.
Okay, 22, okay.
But
I misheard you, that's why I asked. Thank you.
He said, I thought he said something October.
Yeah, he said the last time it was inspected was 2020.
Correct.
He did his in.
Correct. From the private contractor, I
Yeah,
want to submit this.
but you, okay.
But I found it on 20.
You found it in 2022, but
Yes,
they've been in, it's been bad since 2020.
Correct, sir.
Okay, that's, I thought you said. Wow, okay.
So I noted the property with 2 violations, the first being past the 12 months of it being inspected, which so it's got an expired inspection tag, and the second violation is for non-maintenance. And I have a report that I pulled from Piper Fire Protection, which was the contractor who performed the last service, and they listed corroded fire sprinkler heads, obstructed fire sprinkler heads, which I also noted myself in my inspections, and leaking valve from the OS&Y, and I also noticed stuff that they didn't have, like missing caps on the fire department connection. Didn't have caps on it. At this time, if you would, I'd like to present some photos that I took on my inspection.
We'll accept that, thank you.
As evidence. Okay, so at the time when I perform my inspections, typically I send a email out to the property manager of record, or the owner. In this case, it's a management group out of Miami. I had no response back in November. I did follow-up inspections on the property in January, and also meaning December and also January 20th when I filed the notice because I had no response and no return contact from that means. Until the day before yesterday was my first contact. They contacted me, Miss Sheila Husseini from she's Director of Property Operations from Grocery Management Partners, and she had the fire alarm contractor give me a call and signed a contract with him because they were out of date on that also since I'd done my inspection. However, that's not what my notice was, so I told the contractor that and actually had my first telephone conversation with her yesterday about that and told her that's fine and I'll accept that because she had a signed contract and forwarded me a thread of emails between her and the fire alarm people. And then I advised her that she's being brought to the code board tonight for the fire sprinkler system. So as of today, I have a signed contract between herself and Piper for inspection on March 16th, as soon as they could be out there, this month.
So it should be fixed this month.
Correct, sir.
Okay.
And she's got a signed contract for the inspection and the required maintenance. So with Piper, which I can submit. And I just received this today, so it wasn't in the original this afternoon, actually.
So just, whenever.
So,
Let's see if he's done.
Okay.
you want to talk about the photo evidence there, the pictures? I meant okay.
We'll see. If anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I just did.
Go ahead.
So as far as the repairs, the company that does the inspection is also going to do the repair work? Is that how it
She
works?
signed the contract and said that. It's all private hands, so we don't really
Don't really know.
get involved with that. That would be the most efficient way to do it, but some choose to
Okay.
do it different. They bid it out every time.
So you'll be out there on the 16th to re-inspect, and then if it's all done
They're
properly.
going to do the work on the 16th, so I would give them
Okay, so
the next day at least, right?
So you'll be out there sometime thereafter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To make sure it's all done properly.
Yes, sir.
And the question, and as long as it's done properly, if we give them the 30 days like we normally do, by the 12th, it'll all be back in compliance.
Yes, that's my
Second question, just curiosity, how often do you inspect these facilities?
So we get our inspections through Grid. They tell us when to do it, and I go out every 13 months. Typically, I try to get in there in about a 13 to 14 month period.
Okay.
My inspections.
So I was just curious why it was, took 2 years, the
Right.
problem started in October 2020, but you didn't really see it until 2 years later.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
And the property owners are responsible for the fire connection outside the building too?
So that particular owner, it's it has 3 different fire sprinklers. We call them risers for each section. The one works the old Kmart, now the Tampa Mall.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and the second is for the Publix store. Publix is in compliance. They do their own inspection. And the one that I have out of compliance for the plaza, it's the same owner for the whole plaza, right? So, but the ones that are out are the third riser, as I want to call it, was for the H&R Block, UPS store, and Domino's Pizza. They're the out portions.
Just for clarification, those risers are the responsibility of the property owner?
Correct, sir.
So if somebody comes along and steals the cap, it's their responsibility to replace it?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's who our lien goes to, is the owner, not the actual private businesses.
Right.
Of that, because, we're gonna go to.
I asked you, I just
Right,
assumed
right.
that was the fire department's stuff, but it's not.
No, sir. It's internal, it's all private contractor, right?
Okay.
Fire line.
Go ahead, Rod.
I understand when you go to inspect, you already create a first list, which is you included this one in the evidence, telling them that this is out of compliance, this is not correct. But they did not respond to you?
Right. Oh, yeah, I had, my actual inspection had several other violations that are not part of the the NOV, but I write it up and send it, and that's pretty, I hate to say it, nowadays it's more, especially with absentee ownership that's not on the property, it happens more frequent than I would wish.
Sure. What kind of business is it?
It's the Public South Plaza, but it's not Publix, it's the other three businesses that are on the east side of the plaza. It's a Domino's
Is
Pizza.
there safety issues to the public?
Sure, so there's critical deficiencies with the fire protection system. So what that means is if there were to be a fire in that building, that the sprinkler system with the deficiencies noted by Piper and myself and witnessed by myself, that the sprinkler would not work as designed to protect the property and life safety.
And it's all one building.
Right. Now, those three parcels that are being bought to you for the fire sprinkler, there is a fire separation between that and the Publix that has
There's a firewall.
correct, with a 4-hour wall, and Publix does have a sprinkler system for their store that is in compliance. And they take care of it themselves. So this property manager is in charge of taking care of the three for the owner, right? So Publix does their own protection.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Go ahead.
In case number 23-5006, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace Fire Department exist on the property located at 5450 East Bush Boulevard with the applicable violation code section 8-56. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code, from the fire risk reduction fire department, Cletus Squires, and along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation of which is received and entered as part of this record of this hearing. I further move that the violation be corrected before April 12, 2023. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine of each and every day the violation continue past that date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $50 per day.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Samir. Any further discussion?
Yeah,
Bill?
Couple comments.
Then
So,
Samir. Bill, Samir, then you.
I don't necessarily have a problem with the $50. However, I think it was indicated that the guy is they have a contract to get this work repaired. I forget, what was the date on the contract? 16th. So I would be in agreement to move the date forward to make it, because it is a safety violation, a concern. Maybe move the date forward, give them a couple of weeks to get this fixed, if you think that's a reasonable amount of time.
Well, I've seen the contract that's signed. It's already done for inspection. I considered that, but I wanted to go to our normal 30 days. And I know I am pretty hard on, especially if it involves public safety. So it's, but I wanted to keep it 30 days just to give them the, in case, like between that, maybe Cletus will go out on the 15th or it'll be Friday probably.
On the 16th.
The work starts on the 16th.
On the 16th of March, so the 8th, he can inspect it on the 17th. They got till the 12th. It's been on for a long time now.
Well, part of the deficiencies, yes. So, and they've gotten worse, so.
I did not see that couple of weeks is gonna, in my opinion, make a big difference.
It should all be done anyway.
Yes, should be done.
Should be.
And
Do they have a responsibility to inform you when the work is complete? Or do you just, are you gonna just give them 10 days to get it done and then go out and,
Well, I've already went through all those measures, right, nothing's happened, so that's why I'm here.
yeah, I know, but there's no requirement by the contractor to let you know when the work is completed?
Some do and some don't. So in
There's
this
no
case.
there's no official requirement that they let you know?
Correct.
Okay.
So, in this case, I do feel that the property manager now is, because she's reached out to me, like I said, since yesterday and today, where I couldn't get anything for several months. I talked to her several times now. So, I mean, I'll be out there the day of or the day after they're supposed to start. The job's not that big of a job, in my opinion, as long as depending what parts it needs. Because today, the COVID thing, if they got to order a valve or something for that leaking OS&Y, sometimes those set back, but at least there's being progress made, right? So the heads they should have in stock for the ones that need to be replaced and things like that. So it should be done in like in 8 hours.
Sitting in the shop for a month waiting on one part.
Right. So I mean, in reality, I'm getting that all over. So, but I'm waiting for the sprinkler company to tell me if they have the parts or not. And Piper's a national contractor. So
In this case, I'm keeping that 30 days, also to just give them that little bit of room to get it right and get it done.
Any other discussion? Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, Samir was
Samir,
first.
you had something?
Yes, I actually had the same thought as Bill, so I agree with Bill. I think 30 days is too much. Probably two weeks is reasonable given the gravity of the situation and the safety issue. So I would ask you to reconsider for 2 weeks, to re-amend for 2 weeks. That's my 2 cents on it.
That would make it the 22nd, which is only 5 days or so past the start date. Brian?
I just think given what it is, the dollar amount needs to be, I would have put it at 100 per day just as an incentive to continue communication. I mean, obviously there was negligence for so many years over this, and yes, it took a few months and she's finally communicating, which is wonderful. We need to make sure that that communication keeps up until it's done. And so I would put a higher dollar value on it.
I don't mind putting $150 per day or 100. It's not the case, but I've seen a signed contract and it's going to be done. So I did not want to be trying to be hard. And again, with the time too, I consider the time. I just, I see. Do you have a big high concern that you need this done yesterday or immediately? Or I know I heard you going through the whole process.
Right. Well, the concern would be is the building's not fully protected as designed. The life safety, because of it is the tax season, so because most of the year, H&R Block's not even open for business, right? So that's a seasonal business, but right now they are open and have people in there. But, I mean, that becomes between the owner of the property if there was a case where there's a fire, but it's not such a case like a school or a movie theater or something of that nature where there's an assembly of a lot of people in there, right? So I think everybody would be able to get out of the building.
If they did not have a signed contract, I would have
Right.
put a very high restriction on this. But guys,
Based on what you were saying about the availability of parts, I'm on 30 days is fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got.
Go ahead.
I'd like to see the fine bumped, just like Brian. Even if we never have to impose it, yeah, I would hate to say that as a business, you can let your fire sprinklers go for 2 years and we're just gonna $50 a day. I mean, it's a lot, but as a business, you have a kind of a responsibility to the public.
I have no problem changing the 50 to 100. Is that, if that's gonna
Make the,
amending motion.
amending his motion for the fine per day only from $50
I'm
to
keeping the date. Is that okay, guys?
Okay, whoever seconded the original motion needs to second the amendment. It was
It was
Samir.
me, okay.
Yeah.
Did you amend it? I thought
I
did.
am amending the motion to $100 instead of 50.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have an amended motion and a second to the amended motion. Is there any further discussion on anything pertaining to this particular case? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think that's all the new business, right?
Packet is at the end.
Now you need to take a deep breath and
Unfinished business, case number 22-2246, City versus Sod Investment Corporation for the property located at 11301 North 56th Street. The deadline for compliance is April 12th, 2023. Case number 22,
Officer Smith would like to speak.
oh, okay. Officer Smith would like to speak.
Excuse me. I just want to let you guys know, the board, that Said Investments, today they started planting the landscaping at the plaza. 168 podocarpus went in. 8 crepe myrtles are on the site now. They're doing an amazing job. Just wanted to say thank you to them and give the board an update with their progress. They just need to mulch, Mr. Chairman, which will definitely be done before the deadline of April the 13th. They
Okay,
jumped
cool.
all over and just wanted to say thank you.
Marvelous. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Case number 22-3437, City versus Rod A. Hamill for the property located at 6125 East 110th Avenue. An affidavit of noncompliance has been submitted by Officer Smith for Section 8-28A1 dated February 9th, 2023. Case number 22-5357, City versus Michelle L. Elderman and Angelo M. Ferlita for the property located at 6110 Liberty Avenue. The deadline for compliance is April 12th, 2023. Case number 22-5444, City versus John P. Ziegler for the property located at 306 South Burlingame Avenue. An affidavit of noncompliance has been submitted by Officer Silva for Section 12-860 dated February 9th, 2023. Case number 22-5861, City versus Rebecca Chamberlain for the property located at 402 Courtney Drive. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. An affidavit of compliance has been submitted by Officer Silva for Section 8-10214A dated February 20th, 2023. Case number 22-6013, City versus Jennifer Kibiger for the property located at 415 Mission Hills Avenue. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. An affidavit of compliance has been submitted by Officer Allen for Sections 8-10213K, 8-10213B, and 8-10213C dated February 23rd, 2023. Case number 226664, City versus Elay Homes LLC for the property located at 108 Mission Hills Avenue. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. Case number 22-6669, City versus Stephen Andrew Seagrass for the property located at 724 Argyle Place. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. An affidavit of compliance has been submitted by Officer Allen for Section 12-861E6 dated March 6, 2023.
Very good.
We also have one case not on the agenda.
Okay.
Case number 22-4955, City versus Mustafa Ibrahim for the property located at 10373 Council's Way. An affidavit of compliance has been submitted by Officer Allen for Section 8-10213B dated February 28th, 2023.
Very good. Thank you. Any other board action? Any new business? I have one item unless somebody else has something first.
I have one little business.
Go right ahead.
Soon we'll be starting our month of Ramadan, so, I want
Okay.
to wish everybody,
Oh, happy Ramadan.
whoever is going to be fasting, so next meeting,
Be hangry.
I'll be grouchy, so.
Samir does the same thing. He's not grouchy.
Well, no, we'll be bringing dates with us.
Dates. Okay. Date the fruit, not.
Hopefully edible dates.
Edible dates.
Okay, very good. I do have one item. I have some, I don't know if it's mixed blessing news. Kristen's last meeting is tonight. She is moving on to greener pastures. So I'm happy for her. It's our loss and her gain.
So happy. Yes.
Yeah. But we remain in good hands, as you noted tonight. So good luck on your new venture, and we will certainly miss you. Any other new business? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you all.
Like there's ever any doubt.